From the world of John Wick, Ballerina featured the best ending to a John Wick movie, which did not center around the Baba Yaga. Ballerina follows a new protagonist, Eve Macaro, Ana de Armas, as she wages a one-person war against a mysterious cult of assassins. Following the John Wick movie formula, Eve fights through a swarm of assassins to achieve her goal, but her film takes this concept even further. At the end of Ballerina, Eve takes on an entire town of killers to assassinate the evil Chancellor and rescue young Ella from him. This explosive and violent finale puts a new spin on previous John Wick movies, which also featured several people attempting to kill John all at once. However, John never actually had to take on an entire town of highly trained killers like Eve did in Ballerina. Ballerina's ending takes place entirely in a city of assassins. And it's amazing. Though John Wick appears in Hallstatt near the end of Ballerina under orders from the director to kill Eve, he isn't the one fighting through hordes of assassins. The finale revolves around Eve as she fights her way to the Chancellor, who has sent his entire town filled with assassins after her while he tries to escape. Despite being sent to assassinate Eve, John instead chooses to let her complete her quest. He even takes out a few people in Hallstatt and shoots one of her attackers dead with a sniper rifle. However, the focus is mainly on Eve and her journey as she uses a flamethrower to literally blaze through her enemies. Ballerina's ending takes the previous John Wick movies' finales a step further. Ballerina elevates the franchise's traditional action-packed finales. All the John Wick movies before Ballerina end with Wick fighting scores of assassins throughout a city, putting him in a tough spot. While John is an incredibly skilled fighter and holds his own for the most part, other characters have helped him survive. Though many cities in the franchise are populated with several assassins, Ballerina takes this to a whole new level by having everyone in Hallstatt trying to kill Eve. With the finale of Ballerina, it truly felt like Eve was taking on the entire world as she killed her way through Hallstatt to kill the Chancellor. Unlike other towns and cities, Hallstatt doesn't have any innocent bystanders on the streets or in nightclubs getting caught in the crossfire. Everyone was after her in this town, making the battle especially isolating and overwhelming. John Wick fighting a city of assassins would be very different than Eve. John would employ a different fighting style to take on the killers in Hallstatt. Since Eve is younger and less experienced than John in Ballerina, she has a harder time taking out an entire town of killers on her own. This challenge is especially difficult because she's not as physically strong as some other fighters in the John Wick universe. As a result, she is forced to use whatever weapons she can find to survive and come out on top. Eve utilizes explosive weapons, such as grenades and flamethrowers, to level the playing field, making her fighting style in Ballerina dirtier and less refined than John's. If the latter were the one taking on all of Hallstatt, he would likely employ more martial arts and hand-to-hand while making use of his firearms in his more elegant style of gun fu. Overall, Ballerina's climactic final act ended Eve's first solo film in the John Wick universe on a high note. By having her take on a whole town of killers almost single-handedly, she proved herself to be a skilled, dangerous fighter, despite her not being as experienced as the Baba Yaga. The ending to From the World of John Wick, Ballerina could also set a higher standard for future films, such as the Kane spin-off and John Wick 5, to follow.